Are you guys really doing that? Or is it just going to be Matt? Or is it going to be you? So Matt, are we going to be out of here by 7? Meeting's adjourned. Just say meeting adjourned. Meeting adjourned. All in favor? You have nothing to worry about. You just have to worry about the flat tire. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm going to have a flat tire when I go out there. It's going to be interesting. We won't make you walk home. Somebody has to start it. Okay, so somebody has to start it. Is it really going to be me? You guys really want me to sit there? Yeah. Well, what we'll do, look at they'll just start it and vote on it. Just happen. Closer to you.
Okay, the city council meeting is called to order. We have to vote on a mayor pro tem. Mayor Haldeman is absent tonight. I move that we nominate Rochelle Topham as mayor pro tem.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
No, you say nay.
Okay, Rochelle, you're the mayor pro tem.
I know.
Yes.
I still can?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
I don't think that chair goes up any higher either, Rochelle.
Oh, I love you all. I love you all. Okay, we'll start by the opening ceremonies, and I've asked David Burton to lead us in the prayer and a pledge.
It was that or be mayor pro tem. Our Father in heaven, as we come before Thee this evening at the commencement of this city council meeting, we give Thee thanks for our many blessings. We give Thee thanks for the opportunity to meet here together in these favorable circumstances, and we're grateful for the freedoms that we enjoy and the opportunity to participate in governing ourselves and participating in the government of our city, and being able to make good choices to allow us to be able to enjoy the favorable circumstances in which we are given the opportunity to live. We ask for Thy Spirit to be with us here, that those things that are discussed and the things that are done will be in accordance to Thy will, that we'll be guided by Thy Spirit to make good decisions, to be open-minded, to be respectful, to be able to enjoy this setting, this meeting, that we will all be able to participate in the way that is intended, and we'll be able to be productive and accomplish the things in the business that is at hand. We thank Thee for the freedoms we enjoy in this country, and pray for Thy blessings to be upon world leaders, to be able to listen to and be inspired by Thee to bring more peace into the world, that all can enjoy and be blessed by Thee and not be suppressed by those who have unrighteous desires. We thank Thee for all our blessings, Heavenly Father, and ask for these blessings, and do this in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. Amen. Would you all please stand and follow me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thanks, Dave.
Thank you, David.
All right, the declaration of conflicts with personal interest in any agenda item. Does anybody have any conflicts?
No.
Okay. All right. All right, the next agenda item is approval of meetings agenda.
I move that we approve the meeting agenda as printed.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, this time is for the public comment. Time has been set aside for the public to express their ideas, concerns, and comments. This will be limited to 2 minutes per person.
My name is Hannes Frischknecht. I live 91 West, 100 South, and I see with the war in Europe, there's a lot of uncertainty coming up in the near future for sure. And so I was thinking maybe we could postpone the biggest projects for now and maybe just do the simplest solution.
We can't hear. The lights aren't on? It was on. Maybe just get a little...
Will you just talk a little bit closer into the mic so that they can hear you?
All right. What I thought about those uncertainties most likely being a very uncertain time for the next half a year, maybe more than that. We could postpone the largest projects, putting them on hold, and do the simple solutions. That way we could save some money, and we will need that money in the near future. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We can just move on. All right, we will move on to the consent meeting. I would like to, number 6, approval of meetings from February 24th, City Council meeting.
We can do this as a single,
Do them singly.
as a consent agenda, unless somebody calls for a division of the question.
Okay.
I just want to make a comment on the minutes. In the minutes, last time I requested a roll call vote, and I made a statement, and that was not entered into, that I requested that in the statement that I made, and I'd like that entered in if it could. I will tell Kelly that. Okay, thank you.
One other correction, and I apologize, Judy. It says Judy Shirtliff instead of, so there's 2 Shirtliff women on the agenda. So that needs to be changed to Judy Shears and Heather Shirtliff.
It's already done.
Okay.
How do you feel about that, Heather?
More the merrier.
How does Jim feel about that?
I can't handle one. What am I going to do with 2?
Okay.
I move that we approve the minutes from February 24th with the corrections and additions as noted.
I'll make a second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I just want to ask a question real quick before we do. Cleo, on that, is just for the over that wire and stuff like that one, is just for, stock, or is it just for?
It's actually both.
Okay.
Some of the projects coming up for line extensions for the summer,
Okay.
early summer. They told us we're gonna be 18 to 26 weeks out. He placed the order and actually purchased the last 2 rolls that they had in their yard. So they shipped those. He thought this would be approved long before any material showed up, so part of the materials come, but this is replacing stock, and transformers are a long ways out, so.
Okay, so
And
just look,
projects.
part of it's future, part of it's what's coming, what
Yes.
we've got going, so, okay. Just clarification, so.
So I appreciate that, Councilman Gale, 'cause I had a question. Is that budgeted?
Yes.
Okay,
Comes out of the electric fund.
right, that's what I wanna make
Maintenance
sure.
and material line.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Did we approve the whole consent meeting then?
It hasn't been voted
Hasn't
on,
been, no.
it's been moved and seconded.
We just need to discuss it.
Okay.
Yeah, we can-
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion carries. All right, let's move down onto the action meeting. Number 9, refusal to annex Trevor Yardley property in Iron County.
Do you wanna explain that, Cleve?
Is a representative for Trevor here? Okay, that's Trevor's wife, right? Mr. Yardley would like to split the property that he owns out in the county. It's 10 acres, I believe. In order to do that, there has to be a little-known ordinance in the county that requires them to get a refusal from the city council saying they're not willing to annex. They're not asking to annex, but they still need action from, this body. There's no services in the area that they could provide, and it is within our annexation boundary.
Yeah.
This is the reason this action needs to be taken.
And this is a result of a change in the state law as far as...
No, this has been on the county's book
But-
for, since 2010, I believe, is
Okay.
what I was told.
All right.
But this,
Where is the property at? We didn't,
You know where Tanners live?
Yeah.
You know where Shelton's? They're just on the other side of Shelton's,
so
just
what's it
north.
under? I looked it up and I couldn't find it, which name's under.
But like Cleve said, it's in our annexation boundary, so that's
This-
what triggers this.
yes, and also they share a boundary with our actual annexation line. But it would hold true whether this was not touching the actual city limits if they were in our annexation area.
Is there any way we can pull it up on the screen so we can take a look, or is that asking
What?
the maps for Iron County?
I don't have,
Well, I've got them on mine, but I don't know which one it is. She can show me, and I was curious on that.
They don't wanna be annexed.
I know, but I just wanna know where it's at, just for my personal
All right.
reference, yeah, I don't know.
I have too many things going on here. Sorry, just a sec.
Do you have a
Okay,
map?
I did find it, okay, never mind. I don't-
No, do you guys have a map, the Yardleys or anybody?
Right there.
We
Okay.
didn't bring
Yeah, that's right there. I just think it'd be good just for public to know where it's at too, is mainly what I'm at. Okay.
It's that parcel right there.
Okay.
You can see that dotted line on the left of their parcel is actually the annexation line, that's city.
You mean that's city boundaries,
Yes.
or that's the anticipated annex?
No, that's the actual
Okay.
city boundary line.
So it's up against the city boundaries?
Right. But it would hold true if they're inside our annexation boundary, even if they
Right,
weren't touching
right.
annexation.
But you'd have to annex other property, but they're not asking to do that.
They just wanna split it for the county, basically.
So the county, basically, the whole purpose of the county is the county comes in and they say, look, we want to make sure that if we have property that is going to require municipal services, or it's municipal-oriented type property, they would prefer that the city annex. The problem with this property is it's in an area where we don't provide services and we can't provide services, correct?
The only services in the area being provided are power that happens to run along that diagonal line.
But they couldn't do sewer right there. There's
No
a
sewer, no
pumpback
water in
station.
the area.
Water's not
So-
in there either, okay.
Right.
No.
So, what the county requires is they just wanna know that you don't want to annex, then they can go forward and permit municipal type development, so they defer to the city, so it's a deferral to you. So if you choose not to annex this, then we send them a letter, and then they say, great, we'll allow you to go develop according to the county.
I make a motion to refuse to annex the Trevor Yardley property in Iron County. The number is,
Oh, you need a number?
I don't think
do we need it? Or,
Can you go back to that map?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Can you read that parcel number?
You want me to?
No.
C 0-0590-0002-0000.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
We can get you the paperwork. Just use your email? Email it to you, okay.
Yes.
Okay. Are there any opposed?
Oh, I thought you'd, sorry.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're done.
Yeah, thank you. All right, moving on to agenda item number 10. Planning and Zoning Commission, reappointing Larry Zajac for another 4-year term and approving Jamie Bonnet as a voting member.
I make a motion that we, approve Larry Zajac for another 4-year term and approve Jamie Bonnet as a voting member with the stipulation that she comes off of the pool committee. That was in the, discussion. So I would amend that
When was that in the discussion?
before. Yes, yes,
I'll second it so we can discuss on it.
and then we can
Yeah.
discuss it.
Yeah, okay, I don't remember that,
Yeah.
when did that discussion happen?
It was,
Part of it was said, the mayor said it to me also.
the discussion was in closed session.
Closed session.
I don't think that should have happened.
Then you can vote against it.
We did discuss it in closed session.
Is that appropriate, Justin, in closed session?
Was I there?
I don't-
I'm not remembering this, so
I
I don't remember it.
You weren't.
Was I there, or was I not there?
It was that one.
Oh,
Yeah.
I wasn't there, so I don't know.
When we tabled it before.
Okay, but there was no discussion.
Yes, there was.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's appropriate to discuss in closed session the individual, the characteristics, issues with regard to personnel, or an individual, either one. So you can discuss people's characteristics, mental health, those type of things, in a closed session of an individual. They don't have to just be an employee. I have taught you wrong, and I've taught that wrong for like 10 years, so my apologies. The Attorney General's office construes it much broader than I construed it. I construed it much more narrow and more specific and more strict. But, I wasn't there at that meeting, so I don't know what was discussed, but if you talked about the competence, the characteristics or the mental health or the physical health of a person, that is something that you can discuss in closed session. That's one of the reasons we go into closed session.
okay, but I wanna know why it's necessary to take her off the pool committee so she can serve on the planning and zoning.
A person,
Can we discuss it since it was in closed meeting, can we discuss what was said in closed meeting tonight?
Well, I don't know if you need to discuss what's in closed session, but you can discuss what your position is now. You don't have to say in the closed session, we said this and this and this. That would probably be inappropriate. But you could discuss and say, I want to discuss it right now, or why I think it shouldn't be. There is nothing wrong legally with the person serving on 2 committees, or 3 committees, or 4 committees.
Right.
A person can serve on as many committees, I guess, as the council wishes to appoint, and that person is willing to serve on. But,
And also, she's an alternate on the
No, she
pool.
is not.
No, it should be a
She
voting
is-
member.
She's a voting member,
That's
that's
what we're
what
doing.
it is.
I'm talking about on the pool.
She is a voting member on the pool because Mayor Halterman is no longer on the
But we
committee.
put Polly Johnson on there to take that place on that pool committee as a voting member. And I think Jamie is remaining a alternate on the pool. Because we put Polly Johnson on there to be a voting member to take Mayor Hollerman's place. And so with that, I really don't see the problem, because the pool committee's not gonna be a long-lasting committee. It's only an interim committee.
Why couldn't it be a long-term? Because I think they need to be over the pools, that's a big project, or if it
Oh,
could
it's gonna be until it's built, but
Yeah,
then
why
after
can't
that,
they be over the same thing long-term for it?
Well, I think
because it's
going
gonna,
I think going in, like, when I was first appointed to it, I was told that once the pool is built, that committee will be decided.
that was the intent.
But can't we just continue it?
No, because I think there's gonna be other,
no,
Special committee.
no.
it's a special committee.
You've appointed a special committee. Now,
For us.
if you decided that you wanted a pool committee to stay, have a pool committee, you could certainly vote a pool committee, and we could write into the ordinance a committee for the pool, or recreation committee, or whatever.
Well, see, that's
committee you
what
wanna
I
put
think we're
together.
looking at right now. And so the pool committee, I don't think this is something that is going to continue as constituted right now, as they are made up. It's gonna be, the whole makeup's gonna change on that, with the parks and the recreation and everything. So I don't think that's valid. And she is an alternate on the pool committee.
So I think when we voted Polly Johnson in, we just voted Polly Johnson in.
No,
Not as a voting member. It wasn't stated like that, unless I'm wrong.
I think
From
she,
last time.
You're correct.
So I have a
But-
question here. Let's just, maybe this solves the problem. I'm looking at the action meeting. What are we talking about approving Jamie Bonnet for?
As a voting member on
Of-
planning and zoning.
Planning
Okay,
and
that's what I thought.
Alternate to a voting.
Because we voted her in last meeting as an alternate, but now we would like to move her to, or it's being
Okay,
Asked to move
and
to
so with the reappointment of Larry Zajac for another year, 4-year term on planning and zoning, does that fill your planning and zoning board?
yes.
Correct.
it will,
With Jamie on.
with Jamie on it.
Is someone opposing Jamie being put on there?
She was already
she was
put on
already
there and approved, but she was put in as an alternate. Now they wanna move her as a voting member instead of an alternate.
And you don't want her...
Because last
No.
time, there,
No, I can't figure out what you guys are arguing about, then I'm so sorry.
I'm trying to figure it out, because I don't think it
No,
has
the discussion was that if we bring Jamie Bonnet onto the planning and zoning, we felt that she should come off of the pool committee. That was my amendment to this resolution to pass. So that,
Today.
today.
I move that we appoint Larry Zajac for another 4-year term and approve Jamie Bonnet as a voting member of the planning and zoning upon her release from the pool committee. That was my motion.
Okay, so then you have a second, have a discussion on it, and you can vote on whether you sustain Reuben off, and if not, someone file a false...
Second one.
The second motion.
Yeah, 'cause I don't, because she's not just so you understand, she's not a voting member on that pool committee. We put,
We understand that.
yeah, she's an alternate on that committee.
But she can't be a voting.
Hmm?
But she can't be a voting.
Yeah.
just like any other, if somebody's not there,
Yep.
yeah.
I call the previous question, which means that we vote on it.
Right.
We vote on the motion. It's been motioned and seconded, and the question's been called, so you need to call a vote.
That's correct. He called it into question. That's Robert Rules of Order.
Okay, so what do I do?
So now
I
you just say, I call for a vote.
I call for a vote.
Are you gonna do a roll call vote, or do you wanna just a vote?
Yeah, I call for a roll call vote.
Okay, so do a roll call vote.
I vote no, I vote nay.
You need to state your name.
David Burton, nay.
I know. Rochelle Topham, nay.
Sharon Downey, yes.
Matt Gale, nay. Oh, no. Yes. Sorry.
Jim Shirtliff, yes. Motion passed.
Motion passes.
So now, can I make a motion to reconsider, or what?
No, I think the motion's been made and it's done.
You can,
I'm not that familiar with Robert Rules of Order. Now you guys are getting real deep into the stuff I'm not familiar with,
you
but
can call for,
I-
a revote.
Yeah. I just wanted to know why, 'cause I don't think it matters that they're on several...
Discussion's over, David. It's been voted on.
And I don't think there was ever a discussion out in the open. There was a discussion maybe in closed session, but there was never a discussion in the open that stated why...
It was
that-
a personnel matter that was required to be discussed in closed session.
But, so, let me intervene again. Sorry, guys, here. I'm not trying to run your meeting. I really am not. Once you vote and then you do a second, then it's the discussion. And then once your discussion and you vote,
It ends.
then it ends. That's it. So, but if you wanna go on, I will expect my Robert Rules of Order real quick here. I can get them on my phone. And if you want to come back and visit that, David, I'll make sure that's appropriate. I'm not sure it is, but my guess is you can call it, or I'm certainly comfortable you could call it again into question on another meeting.
Mhm.
So if you wanna call it into question in another meeting, you're always welcome to do that. I just don't know if you can call it back in right after, but it may very well be, and I can check Robert's Rules of Order. So if you wanna table,
There is a way to have
you got your Robert's Rules of Order?
I happen to have a copy.
Will you hand them to me so I can look at them? If you wanna table it, then just move on to the next item, then I will do it.
Well, can we even table it? I mean, it's been...
They've already
Oh, no,
voted
just
on
go
it.
on. I just
Okay,
meant
I was
go
like-
on, and
okay,
if you
'cause I
wanna
was like-
recall it back, you as a chair, you can bring them back.
Okay. As the chair, I can bring it back.
As the
Okay.
mayor pro tem.
All right.
Sorry.
Thanks, guys. All right, let's move on to work meeting, item number 11, reports, updates. We'll start down with Councilman Burton.
Okay. Okay, let's start with the, planning and zoning meeting, which everyone was in attendance to as far as council, but for the public's interest, there was a recommendation to the council to approve the Falcon Ridge, what do you call that? Is it a sub? Planning unit development, but they're not, their contract isn't completed, so that's...
It's a conditional use that has not been completed yet.
Okay, a conditional use hadn't been completed, so that's why it was recommended to the council by the Plain Zoning Committee, but it hasn't been brought up because that hasn't been completed yet. Also, it was brought to my attention that, in that meeting in Plain and Zoning, there was a discussion on billboards, and there was the discussion that the council is going to have to, needs to address this in the future to make a recommendation to the planning and zoning as to what direction that, we want them to pursue. So, that's something just for for everyone's knowledge that maybe they can think about. Shade Tree Commission, they're going to look at, well, maybe I'll make a notation on planning and zoning that Larry Zajac was, elected as the chairman for the coming year. Lily Shirtliff was chairman pro tem. And, the Shade Tree Commission, there was discussion on the bids on Main Street, but we didn't have everything in, so they've got to revisit those, and I think there were some others that were gonna be solicited as far as some more bids. So we can get that project, but as far as city involvement, they're gonna try and do a contract where the city won't be involved in having to do cleanup and different things in the state road that we were thinking of at one time. And then maybe as a follow-up today, we had a meeting on the Meeks Park and the pond with the DWR, Kelly Stones and Cleve was there. We've set a date of trying to get like the 1st of June for the equipment so we can start the dredging process. And we've got a tentative meeting set up, I think it's for the 21st of March, to try and get those 4 original legs of that organization that was originally involved to see where we want, the direction we want to go, and see if we can move forward on that project with the Meeks Park as a whole. And I think that's all right now. Thank you.
All right, both of the meetings that I am over were canceled, so I have nothing to report.
And I have nothing to report tonight also.
Same with me.
I had 2 meetings this week, one for the airport board on Monday. We discussed the upcoming expansion of the hangars, talked about the gliders coming in June. They've scheduled, there was a discussion on height of the new hangars and the layout of the hangars. Armstrong Engineering is been contracted to lay out the hangars in accordance with FAA rules and the way that the Parowan City wants them. Was there anything else on that, Cleve? And then on the water board, we had a really good meeting last night on the water. Before I get into what we discussed, the citizens need to know what a good job the city staff and the mayor did in getting us, getting the state legislature to back off on the metering of secondary water. The mayor went up there and talked to Vickers and the various members of the House and Senate that were pushing for this, what was it, 242?
Yeah.
House Bill 242 that would have, I don't think I'm overstating it, it would have bankrupted Parowan City and eliminated our secondary water had it passed. The mayor was up there and spent a lot of time with Evan Vickers and the various people, and fortunately, based on the information provided the mayor by our city manager and our public works guys, we were able to at least postpone.
Well, the correction, my information, it passed, but we can be exempt.
We're exempted, right. And but previous, they told us that there were going to be no exemptions, that we were going to have, and it was the information that Cleve and Kelly provided the mayor that allowed her to go up there and really change some minds and got a change in the exemptions, 'cause at first, when it first passed the House, there were no exemptions.
Right.
I mean, it was one size fits all, and it was going to be devastating to small communities, in the southern part of the state. So the mayor should be congratulated on really speaking up for the small rural communities. But she went up there with information that was provided by our staff. Kelly and Cleve have been working on this for over 2 years and had their ducks in a row, and she was able to convince the powers that be that, there needed to be some exemptions for small cities. So it's like Cleve says, the war's not over, but at least we won this battle, you know. Water is going to be the big priority for the foreseeable future. So I just wanted to make sure that the public was aware of how hard the mayor worked, and especially the city staff, in providing the information. Second thing we talked about, in the culinary, the water board is divided into 2 boards, one for culinary and one for the pressurized irrigation. On the culinary side, we had a really good discussion on looking at readjusting our tiered system. We have a system whereby we have a base rate, and then if you use over a certain amount, you go to the next tier. Over a certain amount, you go to the 3rd tier. Well, one of the problems that we're facing is that we have excessive use. And just going back to the whole idea of the water conservation, we need to come up with ways to incentivize conservation on our culinary system. Because, as most of you are aware, our pressurized irrigation is a closed system. There are no new connections to our system. So any of these new developments that are not already have the pressurized, the culinary system is the one that is used to water the lawns, the trees, whatever. And that's taking a real bite out of our culinary. And the other problem with the culinary is that we're pumpers. We pump our culinary water except for a very small amount that we get from the spring up the canyon. But the vast, 98% of our water is pumped. So our culinary system is a pumper, just like a farmer in the valley. And that's the one that the state is going after in cutting back on the, did any of you happen to see in Iron County today, the paper? It showed a list, or it showed a graph of what the state is going to do with water rights pumpers over the next 50 years. This happened to be for Enoch and Cedar, but it's the same type of thing for Parowan. So if you happen to see Iron County today on the water sewer side, it shows this graph where we're going, what are we pumping now, about 20,000? 28.
This valley, they estimate, is pulling 32,000 acre feet a year out.
Well, in
Safe
Cedar,
yields.
in Cedar and Enoch and the conservation district down there, over the next 50 years, you're going to see a 50% decline in the amount of water being able to be pumped out of the ground, according to this graph.
Those are different dates than Parowan
Yeah,
Valley.
yeah, but I mean, the whole idea is that the state is going to cut those rights periodically over the next 50 years, which is going to affect Parowan and Parowan pumpers. So anyway, and we also talked about a surcharge on this tiered system, if it increases based on the amount of gallons that you use, we have some users that are using 500,000 gallons a month of culinary water. We have to have some way to incentivize people to not. So was a discussion of a surcharge. After a certain amount of gallons used, they're hit with a surcharge. And so that's being discussed, and Mark on the water board is going to put out a spreadsheet showing the different tiered systems for Hurricane, St. George, Cedar, Beaver, Kanab, to give us an idea of maybe where we could adjust our tiered system. So that's something that's on the horizon for us, but the water board's going to discuss that and then come with some recommendations. But we not officially, but unofficially, are going to have something in place before the irrigation system starts. Because once the irrigation comes on, then that's going to be when we start seeing a real hit on our culinary. Because a lot of, as I said, more and more people are not hooked up to the pressurized, which means that it's going to affect our culinary. Anything I missed, Cleve?
No. If you happen to run into some county commissioners, please tell them thanks also for their work on 242. They were able to get over 70 county commissioners to weigh in and ask them to please consider some additional changes to 242, and I think that carried a lot of weight. It finally woke them up to the fact that they were affecting a lot of small communities that really weren't being heard. Parowan was heard loud and clear, but the county commissioners did rally commissioners from across the state, which really got their attention, so thank them if you can.
And it not to beat a dead horse, but it was a near thing. Had there not been that last minute effort by the county commission, our mayor and staff, it could have been devastating for rural Utah. And it's interesting, the only elected representative up there was our mayor. And she did a good job and needs to be congratulated. But she went up there with the ammunition provided by the staff. Because Cleve's been working on this for over 2 years. We've been fighting this for a long time.
Yep.
Anyway, that's all I have, Mayor Pro Tem.
Awesome, thank you.
You know, I'm gonna add to that a little bit.
Okay.
So, 2 years ago when this whole thing blew up, and I found out about it up we were in Bountiful at the time when it all came out, and we started this fight, I told you guys that they would keep chipping away at this. And this is the 3rd year they've been chipping away at this bill. I do not think they're done.
No.
They're gonna chip at it some more. So, the problem is you've got about 5 senators up there that are really pushing this, and they're gonna keep pushing it. And they're not gonna stop, so it's really important that you keep on. It was interesting, the Utah Leagues of Cities and Towns called Jason Brown and Beaver. The big fighters were Parowan, Beaver, and Laverton, right? And they called Jason Brown and asked him to back off the rhetoric. And Jason told them where they could go, in not so kind of terms. And the league was trying to push this through. So we are really fighting a one-sided battle down there.
Correct that? That was the city managers.
Oh, the City Managers Association.
Not, the league opposed it as it was written, and when
That's
they
right.
did put the changes in, they were neutral. So
Right.
it wasn't the league.
But I think they're coming back again, so it's really important that you stay on this, that you watch this, the cost to us. And we got 10 years there's a couple of things that probably need to be pulled back out, Well, we got 10 years to do it, but if we not careful, they'll come back and chip away at this some more. It was fine the way it was last year. It did not affect, it could let those boys up there north do whatever they wanted to do and left us alone, and they just are not gonna let it alone. I think almost out of spite, because they didn't get what they wanted. So, just please be aware that they're gonna keep chipping away, and this is millions of dollars for Parowan. If that came through, you would not be building a pool, because all your money would be going to this. So, anyway, just keep at it,
Or
where it's not going.
Doing the roads or doing
Or anything else.
anything.
You'd be putting in worthless meters that
We would've been-
would not serve any purpose, any beneficial purpose.
And it's not just the meters, the entire system.
It would have
have-
required our replacement of our entire system.
The
yeah.
entire system would have to be replaced to meet their
Mhm.
requirements.
So, that's all I have, other than, we are gonna go into closed session, right?
Can I put my 2 cents in there? Might not be liked, but I think I'm good at it, way it is on there, but I just want to kinda put my 2 cents for the citizens. This doesn't mean that go ahead and waste the water. We
No.
need to make sure we're still conserving.
Oh, yeah, we'll,
You know, I mean, we don't have a meter, can't tell what you're doing or what you're not using and stuff like that, but we need to make sure we're,
and we'll
Follow.
continue to have the 2 days a week or 1 day a
or
week
whatever,
water.
yeah. But,
Well, I think we are,
Use it.
we're exemplifying very good
Absolutely.
measures. I mean,
we need to keep up on it.
Absolutely.
We can't be, let it,
well, I don't think anybody's gonna take this as an open
yeah,
door
that's
to,
just where I'm saying, hopefully it's not.
No, we're working on more storage with the Dry Lakes
Dry
Pond.
Canyon.
Not Dry Lakes, that's too far up the road.
That will help a ton.
Dry Canyon, Pond, various other attempts to utilize the water coming down the canyon. But once again, as both Matt and David have said, conservation is going to be key to us keeping our systems up and running.
Well, it's not just the secondary system, but
It's culinary.
the culinary, the underground with this, the mandate to come up with a water management plan, and, you know, the issue of water is not going away. Utah's the second driest state in the country, and with conditions and things, and with the growth, I don't care how you try and split it, you can only split the pie so many ways. And I don't care whether it's between municipal, agriculture, whatever, there's only so much water. And that's the limiting resource in this, and people are gonna have to understand that. And it's gonna come into play with the growth and everything that comes into it.
Absolutely,
You
and
know.
and I need to mention also, I forgot in a meeting last night with the water board, the city is already taking steps to eliminate, for example, the grass on the park strips, redoing the landscape here around the city building, cutting back on unneeded grass areas. I mean, one of the things that they're pushing up north is limiting the amount of grass that you can water, either irrigation or culinary. So big changes are coming as far as water is concerned, and as David said, that's gonna be the number one issue for the next
Forever.
Forever, yeah. I think you're
It's not
probably,
going away.
It's not.
No.
Did you guys, did the water board get the Iron County Conservancy District's table that they're talking about using? Did we ever get that in, or do you want me to get that to you guys? It's, the Water Conservancy District has a table, and you can bring less water to the table, provided you get your CCNRs and you restrict the amount of lawn that's permitted outside. Did we get a copy of that?
I've not seen that. That'd be very helpful in these.
Okay, I will get that. I'll put a note to myself, and I'll get that from Paul at the Water Conservancy District. It's actually a very good way of reducing the amount of water, you know. So, it's a good thing. So I'll get it and I'll bring it. Who do I give it to? You, Jim?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'll get it to Jim and you can take it to the water board.
Is that everything?
That's all I have, Mayor.
Okay.
Okay, we done with the agenda items?
Yes.
Then I move that we move into closed session to discuss the sale of real property.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any
It's
opposed?
a roll call, isn't it?
Hmm?
Oh, is it a roll call?
Roll call.
Roll
Yeah.
call.
Excuse me. Roll call.
David Burton, aye.
Rochelle Topham, aye.
Sharon Downey, aye.
Matt Gale, aye.
Jim Shirtliff, aye.
We're done? Thank you, everybody,
Yeah,
for
you
coming.
can spend the rest of your life trying to figure out which one to use. Half that book, 3/4 of that